Welcome back. On Monday in the magistrate's court, 34-year-old Leslie Ferguson was charged with the attempted murder of his ex-girlfriend. Ferguson is accused of stabbing Shantria Ambrista at Bahamas on the morning of Monday, November 4th. That was around 8 a.m. in the morning. He was not required to enter a plea to the charges when he appeared before Magistrate Raquel Wims. Ferguson, who is a former employee of the resort, reportedly snuck his way onto the property pretending to be an employee and made his way to the housekeeping department where he stabbed Ambrista multiple times in front of her co-workers. He was restrained by other employees and security until the police arrived. The matter was adjourned until March 31st, 2025 for the presentation of a voluntary bill of indictment. The Member of Parliament for Long Island, Adrian Gibson, is calling on the government to provide a higher level of banking services for a community he says is deserving of such services. While in the House of Assembly, he made the following comments to the Davis administration as it relates to the Bank of the Bahamas.
I'm deeply concerned that Long Island will become a banking desert. I have penned a letter to the chairman of the Bank of the Bahamas and the Prime Minister requesting that bank urgently comes to Long Island. You know, we're grateful for the Scotia for the ATM machine. However, many times that machine is inoperable without cash or some other issue. And so the most viable banking option, we believe, for the people of Long Island would be the Bank of the Bahamas.
Mr. Gibson says Long Island residents believe the Bank of the Bahamas should be mandated to provide a certain level of financial services on that island and other family islands as well. He backed up his request for more banking on Long Island by comparing the economy of Long Island to other islands around the Bahamas where Bank of the Bahamas has a presence.
So when you consider the major resort, businesses, government offices and corporations, elderly folks and visitors, Long Island, given our standing as one of the major islands, cannot be unbanked. And we're in desperate need for financial inclusion. The Bank of the Bahamas, Mr. Deputy, is currently situated in Andros and Kemps Bay and Mangrove Key. We have a larger population than both and a very large business community. They're in Bimini, Eleuthera, Inagua, San Salvador, and Cat Island. And notably, Long Island's population, business engagement, and economy is bigger than a number of these islands where the BOB is currently located.
Mr. Gibson also asked the government to provide more airlift to Long Island via Bahamas Air and not to couple Bahamas Air flights to Long Island with those to San Salvador, which reduces the number of seats to Long Island. The newly formed Bahamas Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association is raising concerns about a proposed exam for the pilots, saying it does not appear relevant to aviation in the Bahamas and that the European-derived examination conflicts with the USA's Federal Aviation Administration system that governed Bahamian pilots for decades. Members of the organization say they have expressed their concerns with the Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, Chester Cooper, and the Director General of the Civil Aviation Authority of the Bahamas, Alexander Ferguson. Bahamas Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association President Mornell Brown had this to say about their ordeal.
There are a number of concerns that the Bahamas Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association would like to address. To begin with, the purpose of the exam that Civil Aviation Authority Bahamas is administering. The exam is wrong and irrelevant for any number of reasons, primarily the fact that the exam bears no resemblance to aviation here in the Bahamas and is based on another region.
Despite their expressed concerns, Brown says the Civil Aviation Authority has stated that any pilot holding a Bahamian license who has not passed the new exam by January 31st, 2025 will not have their license renewed. Meanwhile, in addition to the issue with the exam, Brown spoke to the rapidly increasing fees pilots and airplane owners are facing here in the Bahamas.
The fees at Lindenpillen International Airport and other airports within the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Over the years, we have noticed a steadily increase in fees. However, there has been a significant increase in fees in the last year, with no prior warning and no justification as to why these fees are always increasing.
The local Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association is calling on officials to reconsider their decision as it may result in grounding of pilots with over 20 years of experience. And finally, Member of Parliament for Central and South Eleuthera and the Minister of Works and Family Island Affairs, Clay Sweeting, spoke to the government's efforts to crack down on shanty towns and squatting. Sweeting emphasized that the government is very serious about enforcing building codes and explained that warnings were also given to those in the process of erecting these unauthorized structures.
So what we do is, even though we're demolishing some areas, we're posting notices on other areas where persons are building on Crown land without approval, building areas without building division approval. So we'll continue to do that, and it's an ongoing process, so we'll just continue.
Additionally, he noted that squatting of any sort will not be tolerated. He said all individuals must have the proper documentation for the property before building. He said more attention will be placed on this issue.
Every time I speak, I make it known that we're very serious about the shantytown issue, about persons being up to code. Bahamians have to ensure you get all of these approvals to ensure that you do it the right way, and we want to ensure that everybody in the country does that as well.
Minister Sweeting advised all residences to take the necessary, or residents rather, to take the necessary steps to obtain land in the right way and to adhere to building codes and guidelines of the country. That'll do it for your JCN Evening News. Once again, I'm Jarino Saunders. Thank you so much for joining us.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.